and call the unit Power Wagon. A Power Wagon can do anything. It'll milk your cows or move your mountains.
I've taken this entire truck apart piece by piece, and so far I've restored the frame, the cab, the bed, the doors, the fenders, and I've rebuilt the engine. And now, it finally runs. So it's time to finish up the last couple pieces so we can put this truck back to work. Let's get started. This is where we're at with my 1951 Dodge Power Wagon. If you saw the last episode, the cab right now is at the paint booth getting painted green. So next time you'll see that in this video, it will be completely painted green. And I've been working on this bed here. I ended up buying a reproduction tailgate and a reproduction front panel. Just try to help get this thing more squared up. While I was up at school, we had a body shop put on a new top pipe here and kind of straighten this one out. It definitely looks a lot better. I've just been doing some more body work just on this side over here. And basically I'm just trying to get this all squared up and get all the bolts ready so then after we get it painted, it'll be easy to go together. Because I have to drill out this new front panel, basically to line up with these holes, I need to make sure I have the correct width across the back. So I'm trying to just slot in these cross members approximately and get it all lined up. I went to the store and got some bolts and I've drilled out a couple of these and sticking them through. And then on the back side here, having to kind of bend this just a little bit. There we go, got all these bolts in, and unfortunately I have to take it all back apart now because I'm going to be giving it to the painter and all the different pieces. But now, once it is painted, it'll be super easy to get it all lined up and bolted together. So I'm going to go ahead and take these bed sides, tailgate, and the front panel and some other little pieces to the painter, and hopefully we'll be able to pick up the cab soon too. Look at that view. We have absolutely everything else in the truck here or ready to go in the truck to go to the painter. Pretty much every component we have left. Windshield, bed sides, tailgate, some running boards, the doors, and that's pretty much absolutely everything. I feel like I might forget some very minor stuff. So I'm gonna try to get a can of the green paint just to do a little touch up on bolts and that kind of stuff. But we're gonna send this off to the painter. I've had these front fenders in storage for a couple months now. They got painted professionally a while back. So I'm gonna get those out of here and we're gonna figure out what bolts I need to buy and also start mounting the headlights up and everything like that. It's important that I don't scratch any of this stuff now too, which I'm not the best at, scratching stuff. I found this elevator kind of cool as a kid, and I've grown like 18 years and I still find it pretty cool. Most important thing is I just don't scratch these all up. So I'm gonna carefully put them in the back of my truck, and then we're gonna go to Home Depot and get some bolts and then go home. All right, I'm getting 5/16 and 3/8 bolts, nuts, lock washers, and flat washers.
Please remove your card.
That's ridiculous. Here are the fenders. They're a little bit dusty, but they look super good. And I'm just working on this headlight right now. I just lengthened the wire so I could kind of feed it through the little tube, and then I'm gonna go ahead and mount it up. I found the original bolts, and I can't really find like a similar thread in like the hardware store. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a lot of the original bolts if I still can for this stuff. There we go, all mounted up on that. It looks good, nice and secure. There's no like gasket or anything between the metal and the metal here, which I guess is fine. I did it pretty tight, put some lock washers on the one that didn't already have one. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on this side, lengthen the wires first, and then get it mounted up. Wow. I never really envisioned what it would be like to put these back on. I remember when I took them off. And I just never kind of imagined like what the end result would look like necessarily, but it looks absolutely incredible, especially for kind of doing it myself and never doing a project, anything like this before. And I'm excited to attach those fenders to the splash guards, and these will be attached to the truck. So still got a good amount of work to go to get it all put back together, but I'm gonna make all that happen in this video to kind of get the whole truck, at least the front of it, back together. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very big announcement. It's green, that's my hint. But first, I'm gonna show you a picture of what the Power Wagon looked like before I even got it. Okay. It has been about 2 years now since we first bought it, started doing all the work on it. We just got the cab and the front part back from the paint shop, and I'm gonna spin this camera around and it's actually insane. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Look at that. Absolutely incredible. If you remember, there was huge rust out spots on these corners. You would never know. Absolutely incredible. Left the inside the original. Ended up painting the jambs, which I think was a good call. This side also looks great. The firewall I had done before. Seamless transition, you never know. And then also the front and the grille. This is actually insane. Super happy with the way it looks. So I'm gonna go ahead and slap on the fenders so we can get the headlights on this thing and take it for a drive, because it is just too pretty not to take down the road. This is so cool. Okay, before I can put on the fender, I have to put the splash guard back on. And the way I've been figuring out kind of how some of this stuff goes back together is actually, it's convenient that I filmed taking it apart. Not really thinking about how I maybe need to use it again for reference, but it is actually coming in pretty handy. So I'm just looking back at some of my old videos and kind of seeing, oh, that's how that went. And sometimes it's like very in the edge of the shot and not super clear, but it is definitely helping. And now I can see that's how that goes. I just need to bolt it up. Down here in Bolt City, you can see I got this 3/8 inch bolt here. This is gonna be kind of the standard setup, is big washer, lock washer, nut. And I'm gonna use the 3/8 for the big holes and the 5/16 for the small holes, and we'll go from there. It's not gonna be too sophisticated. Some of them might be a little bit too big, but I'm just gonna go for it, and hopefully this thing's gonna look absolutely awesome. Actually, I already know it's gonna look great. So let's put this first bolt in. We are about to put the first bolt in reconstructing this Power Wagon. Here she blows. Once I tightened that bolt, I ran into a quick problem. I need to put this basically high beam switch back in. It goes in the floor right here, and I have to keep in mind that when I start putting stuff back on, stuff like this is gonna be really hard to get to. So I also have a brake stop switch right there, and that's not hooked up, but I'm gonna just leave that for now. Okay, I still be able to access that, but stuff that I won't be able to get into once I have this all closed up, I need to make sure I put on. There we go. If this makes you feel squeamish, feel free to close your eyes. We'll be over soon, hopefully. Got all of them out. Lesson learned is remove the rivets before you paint. And I know that I messed up here too, which is a bummer on not removing the rivets. Should have thought of that. Didn't. First time ever building a car basically in my garage. So we're gonna just fly with what we got here. So I'm gonna rivet on the new piece of rubber now. I need to drill holes in that line up. I just have to show you. It looks so sick. So I'm gonna start by bolting these two brackets together, and then we're gonna try to get everything lined up. And we also have another like bracket that kind of goes in the frame I forgot about that we have to get lined up too once we do that. Okay, I think I got one. Next step, get all of these lined up. Sorry, I forgot to give the trigger warning on that one. That I was gonna drill through nicely painted fender. There we go, last bolt's in. I got this entire side, you know, maybe a quarter of a Scott foot pound, whatever you wanna call it. So I'll still have some room for final adjustment. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this side. Cue the fancy music. Okay, that side is fully on. I'm not gonna show you because I want it to be a dramatic reveal. I'm gonna put on these running boards, put in the seat, wire up the headlights, and then we're gonna have some drama. Update, I just realized the ones I have that are painted are the rear, and the front ones I bought reproductions and they have not been painted. We will save running boards for another time. For the wiring, I'm just stripping everything because I don't know what I have here. I know that these are both the positive and this is the negative coming off the headlight, but I don't know, like, for example, which one of these is the high and low beam. So I'm gonna have to just twist them together and test it out. I'm gonna try hot wiring one of these first just to see what happens here. There we go. Got light. All right. So that's the high beam. That's the low beam. Okay, so last night I spent a ton of time on this other side. There was an issue within the headlight. There was like a loose connection. I had to take it all apart, put it back together. Super difficult, but I have it all mocked up now. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and crimp all these wires together. I know it's still not the best way to attach wires. Soldering's better, but that's how I'm gonna do it, at least for now. And then, ow. I'm also working on these signal lights. So I'm just kind of sanding some of the rust off them. I'm just gonna touch them up with some black spray paint. I put in the seat, didn't film that, but it just slots right in. And I think it just mounts basically by sitting on these little posts, and good enough. We still got to figure out seatbelts in the future. Don't have any ideas on that yet. But I have those turn indicators fully mounted up. See, turning left. It blinks at a normal rate. In the past, it used to hyper flash and doesn't do that anymore. And then also works turning right. Same thing with hazards, works. And then headlights, they're currently on, but I was trying to figure out this switch. Basically, it has multiple positions, but I just made it so no matter which way you have the switch, the headlights and the taillights are always gonna be on. But then like when I pull it all the way in the future, I'll already have the cow lights also kick on. So I'm just quickly kind of getting this all reconnected back here, and then we'll be good for lights. All right. After a couple days of working on this thing, I didn't film much, but I got lights working, and then also got the turn indicators working and the running lights working. And I have the brake lights wired up, but the brake stop switch, which is on the brake line, is just broken. I think it needs to be replaced. Not sure on that, but I'm gonna go ahead and flip this thing around, and then I'm gonna make a little fancy show out of this. I may have tried this before and I stalled it out. I'm not very good at driving a manual car, and my neighbors kind of like looked at me like I was crazy, so hopefully I don't break down in the middle of the road again. Getting her all warmed up. Lights on, more lights on.
And call the unit Power Wagon. A Power Wagon can do anything. It'll milk your cows or move your mountains. The Power Wagon is built to serve. We believe you can count upon it where the need is great, the going tough, and the better living of people, the goal toward which you strive.
Okay, so I'm scared of taking on a drive without my dad, but you get the idea. This thing is absolutely awesome. This is like so much cooler than I ever thought it would be. We've got the entire engine rebuilt. It's painted now. It has lights, has a freaking seat. All it basically needs is glass and putting on the other parts, which I'm gonna do in the next video. I'm actually so stoked. And by the way, that was not all smoke from this thing. This thing doesn't pump any smoke out. Little Party City action. Don't worry, don't worry. I'm not gonna hurt my health. I'd have a mask on if that would be bad for me. But this thing is absolutely awesome. I didn't really touch on the wiring, but everything has a fuse now, so I don't have to worry as much about this thing catching the house on fire. We also usually keep it unplugged, but it still has a good amount of tuning and fine tuning and little things to go. But I think after the next video, when we get the bed on and then all the glass in, we're gonna actually be able to take this thing like to the beach or something really cool like that. And then eventually I gotta take this thing off-roading too, once we make it a little more hardy. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Make sure to throw something down in the comments below on what you think, because especially if you've been watching this from the very beginning, I know we've made a lot of progress. And you probably still have a lot of recommendations and I want to hear them. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Goodbye.